Hello and welcome to the Musty Creative Podcast. I'm your host, Jesús, and I am joined by multiple friends here, Michelle and Adriana. Welcome to the Musty Creative Podcast. We are the Musty Collective, creators on a journey to better storytelling. Thank you for joining us today, even though it's musty in here. Today, we're thrilled to bring you our 2024 Oscars preview podcast. We'll be diving into several key categories, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Lead Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Animated Feature, as well as Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Original Screenplay. While we may touch on other categories inadvertently, these are our primary focus. Also, I'll say Best Lead Actress as well. Our main discussion will revolve around the top films of 2023, specifically the top 10 films nominated for Best Picture. I'm excited to be joined by my two guests to delve into this topic. We'll start by ranking the Best Picture nominees from 1 to 10, with 1 being our top choice and 10 the least favored. We're also eager to hear your thoughts on any films you didn't believe deserve their nomination and which films you nominate in their stead. So please comment below on the YouTube video. Hit us up on Spotify for your comments, or just email us, or whatever. Be on the Discord and talk to us about our opinions. Let us know when we're wrong and when we're right. Anyways, let's get started with the conversation. Let's begin our discussion. Let's start the show.
What defines a Best Picture film? On our show, we've consistently argued that the significance of the Oscars and other awards, including the Academy Awards, stems from their ability to spotlight the most compelling stories of our time. These stories contribute to the legacy and history of human society, showcasing both its flaws and virtues, and inspiring growth and improvement within our community.
Do you want to reread that, or is that good for you? We're all messing up here. You want to reread that, Michelle?
The phlegm coming and I just kept going.
Sorry.
What is that laugh?
Sorry, Michelle.
What
Oh
is that
Lord.
laugh?
Oh.
Let's hold it together now, people. Let's hold it together.
This has been 5 minutes. Yikes. What?
Let's hold
He's
it
concerned.
together now.
Ooh.
Let's hold it together now.
We all
Come
right.
on.
We all right. This one's gonna have to have bloopers. Okay.
Oh, mercy.
Okay.
So at number 1, not saying we're ranking it right now, but at number 1, we have American Fiction. At number 2, we have Anatomy of a Fall, which is actually funny because it is about a fall, which is kind of hilarious. And then we have Barbie at number 3. We have The Holdovers at number 4. We have Killers of the Flower Moon at 5. Maestro at 6. Oppenheimer at 7. Past Lives at 8. Poor Things at 9. And The Zone of Interest at 10. So, for us to go through our debate here about what is going to actually be the winner and what we think about it, I'm going to kick it off. I'll kick it off and just say, first of all, the films that I believe actually deserve to be here on this list. So I'll give it to Barbie, of course. I'm going to give it to The Holdovers. It definitely deserves the nomination. Killers of the Flower Moon, for sure. Then I'm going to jump down to Oppenheimer at 4, and then Past Lives at 5, Poor Things at 6, and I'm going to stop right there. There are 4 films on this list that actually I don't believe need to be on this list of best nominated pictures. So feel free to debate and counter what you think I have decided in my mind.
I mean, I don't know if I agree. Anatomy of a Fall doesn't belong on the list.
Anatomy of a Fall. So we'll just also clear the air here. I'm the one who's watched all 10 of these, so I just want to make that very clear.
I've watched 9 out of 10.
Did you watch Anatomy of a Fall?
I sure did.
Yeah, so it is a good film, and it is an interesting fall or diatribe of like the pitfalls of like a stolen marriage and like how people can get caught up in a whole like court case and the whole like, you know, national televised news item when it really wasn't their fault.
Hmm.
Like it was very clear early on that, and I forget her name, but Sandra Huller's character,
Mhm.
like it was not her fault at all. Like, yes, they had some marriage issues, but she didn't kill him. It was pretty clear early on. So like as an audience member, there wasn't anything for me to like hold on to besides the fact that maybe they could get her on the idea that she pushed him and drove him into suicide, but that wasn't the whole point of the case. The whole point of the case was that she killed him. So like
Right.
that's what the prosecution was doing.
Right.
So there wasn't much like conflict and drama for me, to be honest. Like it was very slow in the beginning. It got good once the court case started going on, and the court case was well done. That prosecutor, with his like his French, woo, he was going at her like
He
crazy.
was so spicy.
Yeah, very spicy, very spicy.
But I won't lie, like I kind of disagree just with the sense that I didn't totally believe she was innocent right from the get-go. You know, he was saying it was like,
Really?
oh, it was very clear she didn't do it. I was like, I don't know. You're home alone. This brother been annoying
Yeah.
you for a long time, okay? The resent was there. And then he drove out this chick trying to interview her, and then you go up and you're going to have some words, I think. Like, why are you acting like this? You're acting like a child, doobie-doo-pop. And, you know, so it wasn't totally clear to me that she was innocent from the get-go. And I didn't think it was slow at all. I was on the edge of my seat with that movie.
Like from the point where you saw his dead body on the floor?
Yeah, I guess.
Cold snow?
You know.
Sorry, we're spoiling everything for you, Michelle, but that, I mean,
that's fine. Still watch it. Still watch it.
No, I think from the court case perspective, it was like a very good court case like movie. But to be honest, like we got this movie years ago, and it's called Marriage Story.
Oh, I do love that movie.
Yeah, and I thought Marriage Story really spoke to like the real conflict that was happening within the relationship. Had some really amazing moving scenes.
Oh yeah.
And so some great performances that I thought were way better than the performances we got in this movie. So
but I
like Sandra Hüller did a good job, but like it wasn't like, oh wow, she really stood out to me. And the direction of the movie like really stood out to me. It was like you had two scenes or like two sets essentially. You had the house set and the courthouse set. I'm like, it was okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say Sandra wasn't like best actress winner with this movie. I thought she acted well for sure. The winner of the Oscar in this movie is the dog Snoop.
It's the little boy.
No, the dog Snoop. That dog deserves his Oscar, man.
Yeah, actually, I feel really bad because I don't know how they did that scene with him throwing stuff up without abusing him. Like, and there's different laws.
Good. Michelle, you have to, just for his scene work, you have to watch this movie.
Just for his scene work.
Honestly.
Yeah. Compared to the cat in Argyle, this dog is like the Brad Pitt of acting when it comes to animal acting. Like up there with like animals like from Homeward Bound and Beethoven, up there in the echelon, you know. So, but I think there's different laws in Europe, so I guess they could like force a dog to throw up because that looked like real. It didn't look like CG to me.
To be honest with you, it takes a lot more to make a dog throw up because we've had to do that, and you're like cups and cups and cups. And they just poured a little, it fell right out his mouth into the floor. And he was like, I'm alive. But he played it so well. So I was okay with it. He was the best.
Up until the point where like the boy revealed why he did it. I was like, you know, I really don't like this kid, to be honest.
I mean, I just felt so bad
like the
for
kid.
him. And the way he handled himself in front of the judge, I said, you go, Glenn Coco. So cute.
Yeah, but he was acting.
It was good acting.
I feel like a little kid in that situation would not have like an 11-year-old in that situation would not have handled himself that well.
But he's very mature. I mean, he's not your average 11-year-old. I think. I mean, even just the way he carries himself around his mom and like, you know, how he hugged and kissed and, you know, kind of, you know, made her feel more comforted. Like
at the end,
you know, like you can tell he's very mature for his age.
He was like, Mom, for the weekend, I need you to get out.
I know, to have the discernment, like I need her away so I can make sure I know what I'm going to say on Monday, you know? That's
true.
I don't know.
The father was the weakest.
Well, yeah.
In my opinion.
I agree. He didn't have much, I think, time even to develop. It was just, he's I don't know, just one dimensional. But he only had a handful of scenes.
But even if he had the handful of scenes, I don't believe we would have learned more about his character. Like, I don't think there would have been more dimensionality, to be honest, out of his character. But I digress. Let's keep moving on to the other films, because we could be here all night arguing. Oh yeah, I will say with Anatomy of a Fall, the best scene out of the movie though was the scene where it was the court case going back and forth to the big fight, and from the big fight back to the court case and going back and forth.
You mean between the two lawyers?
No, between the parents.
Oh, and we're listening to the recording of their fight.
Right, but then it shows actual video of the fight.
Yeah, that was
and again, it was powerful, but it was one of those things of, again, messages we've heard before, stories we've heard before of like, you are the one keeping me from living my life, and again, Marriage Story right out of there, right out of the playbook of Marriage Story. And so, and that's another thing too, is like I felt like Sandra Huller's character, even up until that point, was just like, I want you to live your life. I'm sorry I've hurt your feelings, but I'm not the reason why you are living your life. And I just, like, at that point, I was like, dude, you suck. So move on.
Well, I think the point really of the movie, because you keep comparing Marriage Story to it, and I feel like they're still very different. It's like the point of this movie to me was how you can just pick and choose little tiny aspects of someone's entire life together and put it out there to create something that is just totally not what it was. Like you can't just take the pieces and think the whole story. And it's like with marriages and relationships, you only know so much, but the two people in it are the ones who know the most. So it's like to have your whole life, like imagine you're on trial for something you did not do, but then they're gonna pick apart little conversations here and there, an argument there, and then your whole world could blow up, and that's scary. I thought they conveyed that really well.
No, I agree. Like, it went from one afternoon, like, where everything was chill, except for obviously the noise, but it was still chill, to like, you lose your husband, you're in a foreign country, you're already like poor, and that's what like when she said it didn't. When you win, you still lose, and then now you're on trial in front of the entire nation and having everything examined, and that
everyone's gonna have their opinions of you, and
and her husband's therapist like going at her in court.
Anyways, I'm like, yeah, you meet with him once a week. It's like, I'm with this person, 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
That was crazy. No, but definitely a good movie. I still think not a Best Picture nomination.
Okay.
So, right. All right. So let's go on to the next film that I don't think is a Best Picture nomination, and I'm gonna say American Fiction. And I know that's a hard one for people because it got a lot of love, but I'm gonna say this. You need to respect your audience. And it's going to come up. This is a theme for me because I'm going to talk about this with the zone of interest as well. You need to respect your audience. And it was so cheesy, and a lack of quality, and in my opinion, a lack of skill to make a decision and say, this is my ending, I stand on it, and I'm going to move forward. And so having, like, what was it, 3 or 4 alternative endings, and you don't really resolve anything even when you get to the final ending. That was not respecting the audience, and that's not Best Picture quality, in my opinion. And the other thing I will say, and I want to talk to you about this, Adriana, was the scene where he's having a discussion with the other Black author in the room, and they get some private time. That scene lost me only because it was so good, but it got caught off so short with the other author coming in and interrupting the conversation before they got into like the meat and the deepness of like, why do you feel this way? Because leaving American Fiction and thinking about it for a while, I think one of the problems with not Cord Jefferson, but the main actor, Jeffrey Wright's character, like the main problem with his character was he was coming from a very bias, a very big bias of like privilege. Like, yes, he's a Black man, but his family is super well off, hanging out in the Hamptons and all that kind of stuff. And I just, like, it seemed like he was coming from a different kind of perspective. And that's totally cool. That's totally okay. And I share, like, in a lot of the relatability for his character. But I wanted to have that conversation to say, like, hey, maybe you should look at it from a different perspective. Not saying you're wrong, but I wanted that conversation to be lengthened, to be increased. And so that's why I would say it's close. Like it's really close to a Best Picture nomination. I also will say this: it also feels like the Academy is like trying to make up for last year, because they didn't have the Woman King, and they're like, let's throw in a person of color in here movie.
But they have a person of color movie with Killers of the Flower Moon
and Past Lives.
But
like they're like oh let's get Black people in here kind of thing. And that's what American Fiction kind of felt like for the nomination. That again, that's just my opinion.
You watched it, Michelle?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, that's another one on the list. Okay.
Yeah. But what you were talking about with the multiple endings, that was literally how the movie Clue ended. Like there were 3 different endings to that movie. But
that was Best Picture nominated?
No, but that was because it was a board game. Like they took the board game and made it into a movie, and so the ending is always different when you play the board game. So that's why they did that. So I don't know if that was like something to do with this story. I haven't seen the movie yet, but
it's very genre. It's very cheesy, and not to be like highbrow here, but it just seems uncouth, in my opinion. Like it's like having
dictionary out.
Right,
the most highbrow word I've ever heard in my life.
It's like having Top Gun Maverick be a Best Picture nomination last year. Like we all accept it, right? But it doesn't mean it actually needs to be there.
Disagree. Top Gun Maverick as
and
a
American
Best
Fiction
compared to American Fiction as a Best Picture nominee. Totally 2 different.
No, situations. So American Fiction is like a way better movie. It has something to actually say about itself, which is my biggest critique of Top Gun Maverick. But what I'm saying is like, just because it gets a nomination doesn't mean it is a Best Picture nominated film.
Of course, it's all still subjective. You know what I mean? But with that scene, because initially I was really worried when you said that scene ruined it for you and like or took it off the list for you. That scene with Jeffrey Wright and Issa Rae, they're like eating lunch.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Because I felt like, you said you wanted more, which that would have been fine. I would have, I wouldn't bother either way. If we had more and it went into deeper an explanation, kind of can see not just him thinking, but him processing and verbally having that discussion.
Yes, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
But it still was very powerful, that moment. And I get it. It would have been lovely to lengthen it, but it was powerful. I sat back like, oh, that's right. Holy cow. That phrase of potential. It's like just not good enough yet. It's not quite there yet. We're not. And, the way he viewed a lot of Black culture and Black America with that idea, you saw the wheels in his mind turning. It's like, have I really been just thinking about my own people as not good enough? And that part came through for me. Really did.
No, that's actually a really good point.
It came through. I was like,
and I'll say this: I am on the fence on my opinion on American Fiction.
Okay,
but I really dislike the ending. I hate it because I was in and I was like, okay, let's have some conclusions. Let's make some statements here. Let's like my whole point for like film of this type of quality is that you make a statement, like you stand on something, even whether you're wrong or whether you're right. You stand on something and you don't just try to hide away from it. And to me, Cord Jefferson, who still is like, he should be nominated for Best Adapted or Best Adapted Screenplay. Yeah. And honestly, I could have seen him given like a Best Director nod, to be honest. So yeah, he did a fantastic job, but you still have to stand on something to conclude that film. So that's all. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it was saying things the whole movie. It didn't need the ending to tell me what it was trying to say. And to be honest with you, I think he was also just trying. It was uncomfortable. A lot of the movie, you're very uncomfortable.
I wasn't.
I was.
What were you uncomfortable with?
All sorts of stuff, But the endings made you almost feel like it was like your deep breath, And I love the Plantation Annihilation. Killed me, okay? Adam Brody.
But I want to shove the knife deeper into the hearts of my audiences.
It was there. I was dead. I was DOA by the end.
I was waiting. I was holding the knife. To my chest, and I was like, "Shove it in, Cord. Shove it in. And he didn't. And he was like, "No, it's okay. we're gonna have like a shoot off and like SWAT teams and stuff like that. It was so ridiculous. It almost felt like Argyle at the end, to be honest.
Oh, that was the whole movie.
Yeah, Argyle. I've already said this, but is the worst movie of 2024. Anyways, let's keep moving on. Let's go to a film that Michelle has watched that I took off my list, and Maestro. I don't believe Maestro should be a Best Picture nomination film. I see why it is, because it's about Leonard Bernstein, but it wasn't about Leonard Bernstein, in my opinion, and about the work that he did. It was about him a little bit and his conflicts of interest, the zone of interest. Very interesting, right? But it was not really about him, and it was very stylized, and the cinematography and the camera shots were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm surprised he didn't get a Best Director nomination, but he did get a Best Actor, and he deserves it. But it's not a Best Picture film.
I feel like it was kind of celebrating. It's one of those movies where it celebrates film for the sake of celebrating film. Like the way that it started was very like old 1940s, 1950s type of like Hollywood.
Yeah.
And then even like at certain points, like it turned into like a full screen film. We could see like the black bars on the side. So that was like an 80s movie. And then it kept like evolving like throughout, like to go with the time period of whatever this character was in. So I feel like it was nominated because it I guess reinterpreted like a modern telling of those old movies. And like this is like going back to old styles that we all know and love, kind of a thing. But the story itself, honestly, like I was watching it on Netflix, and I was like, this is a little boring.
It's a lot of boring.
Like I was considering like maybe I should just stop watching this and watch something else. No. Like I was almost on the verge of that. I mean, I really enjoyed the stylistic, I guess, way that they filmed it and everything. Like that was interesting to me, but the actual story itself, it's like, I don't know if I really care about these characters.
Thank you.
Enough.
Not until the cancer part.
Yeah, the cancer part. But it hit me hard when that happened. Like when the cancer happened, and then them just dealing with that, and him being there for her, in a way that she wanted him to be there for her all this time. And now that she's sick, he's like gonna be there for her now. But like, that really hit me hard, and I got really emotional on that part. Like I didn't care the whole time, and I'm like, oh no, got the cancer.
But yeah, I just want to highlight one thing you said though, Michelle, is that it was like that classic kind of film noir kind of vibe. I think right up until he has his first date with Carey Mulligan's character, like his wife, and then after that it was pretty much over. And it's cool that they had the different styles, but honestly that was just confusing, and it just didn't like make quite sense, because I think you brought this up before, Adriana, but like there wasn't really an emphasis on the films in his eras that he was focusing on. And so I didn't see that transition as well. Like if there had been like a focus on West Side Story in the early part of his career, and then a focus on like another film and another film and another film to kind of lead us through that time period, while also going into some of the internal, like, your relationship conflict he had, it just wasn't enough for me to like say, oh, that's cool that you changed the styles and the aesthetics throughout the time. I was like, you're just messing around.
Well, and I think Michelle was meaning like how just the time was moving in the movie, right? Like you could see the changing of how it's being filmed to match the era that they're in currently, right? That was my understanding. But yeah, on what you touched on, I was only there for West Side Story. Justice for West Side Story.
I don't know what's Justice. I mean, it was like
because
it's an acclaimed film.
We spent 2 seconds talking about it in the movie. That's what I'm talking
about. Well, blame Bradley Cooper for that.
And like that's his most probably well-known work. And it wasn't a movie; it was a Broadway show. He wrote the music and all of that for it. Okay. Didn't become a movie until later, but I was there for that, and to see the artistry and to see all of that went into creating one of the greatest musicals of all time, has influenced many a musical after that.
Greatest musical.
One of the greatest musicals of all time. Are you kidding me? That's another podcast, okay? But
I mean, Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, no, trust and believe.
But like when you say one of the greatest, is it top 3, top 5?
I don't know. I don't know about tops,
but
it is definitely one of the greats, hands down.
If it's not top 5, it's not one of the greats.
Okay, top 5. 100%. Okay. But anyways, that's what I was
Oklahoma,
here for.
The Keenan Eye.
Oh, no.
Cats.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Like, look, whatever
Justice
y'all
for Cats, he will die on that hill.
Whatever y'all think of Cats 2019, which actually is a pretty decent movie, like the actual musical itself is like acclaimed on Broadway theater as one of the best all time. So like y'all can hate on it and hate on the costumes, but pulling in tickets and pulling in sales and pulling in butts and seats.
It's a very long running show.
Yes, definitely. But
mercy.
To say
I didn't do this.
Top 5, I would. Well, that's a different podcast, but I'm ready.
# Broadway theater community attack these two. Do not attack me. I tried to stand up for y'all.
But anyway, so I was just really hoping for that, and we just got literally not much. But I did think did Bradley get a nomination for the actor?
No, yeah, he got best actor. No, I think he deserves that.
He did a fine job.
He deserves that. Mm-hmm. And Carey Mulligan, I wasn't high on her, but when I watched the movie, I was like, you know what? She deserves it too. She definitely deserves it too.
And to go back to Michelle, you said about how he was acting the way she wished he would have acted the whole marriage, right? Mm-hmm. That girl knew exactly what she got herself into when she married him.
I told her that last night.
Don't marry a man who likes other people besides just you. Okay.
Yeah.
And she kept saying multiple times in the movie, like, I know who you are. And
you accepted it. Anyway.
Yeah. But the line that explained it, I guess, at the end was the last conversation she had with her sister-in-law, where she was saying she thought she was strong enough to handle it, and she wasn't. Like she was lying to herself and thinking she was strong enough to handle that kind of a marriage. She was
definitely lying to herself. That is true.
Yeah, but just like seeing it slowly like eat away at her, that was so sad.
And they still smoking in the house after the lung cancer, but whatever.
Well, it's breast cancer, I think.
Oh, yes, breast cancer. But just quick shout out to Maya Hawke. I thought she did a great job. She didn't have a lot to do, but just as her daughter, I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, that's who that was.
Yeah, from Stranger Things. Just a shout out for the Stranger Things crew. Doing big things.
Okay.
Doing big things.
Shout out.
Yeah. She's the daughter of Ethan Hawke and Maya Rudolph.
No.
What's her mom's name?
I don't know.
It's
Michelle knows.
Kill Bill. It's Who's Kill Bill?
Kristen Bell.
Okay, moving on. It'll probably pop in our heads later on. But last film to discuss that I don't believe belongs on here, and then I would like to hear what out of these 4 films that I talked about, which ones would you replace? And like with what films would you replace them as? Because there were other films out there besides the Best Picture nominations. And so I'm going to talk about the Zone of Interest.
Okay. Uma Thurman.
Yes,
sorry, that's what's gonna bother me.
No, that's fine. Okay, so the Zone of Interest is a good film. It's well made. I think the production quality, the cinematography is well made. Costumes and like the settings, the set designs, all the production sets, very good. The movie doesn't say anything, and it wastes my time. Like it's not 2 hours long, so I'm thankful for that. But it literally wasted my time. First of all, that annoying raw intro for 5 minutes.
10-minute intro.
It was just black. It was just black. Oh yeah, you haven't seen it. It was just black for 5 minutes.
Oh my god.
And then the outro is a black screen. Bomb. And it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's not like Dunkirk where you're it's the sounds of war and you intro yourself into the battlefield or something like that. It's not doing any of that whatsoever. It's literally just
music, like organ music.
It was so stupid. And again, that's the theme here again. The lack of respect for your audience. I am never going to approve of that. I don't care what your film is. I don't care who you are. If you do not respect your audience, you're not getting a thumbs up from me. All right. And I am the Academy.
Okay.
All right. So that's what I wanted to say on that. Also, lastly,
yeah, I'm done.
No, I'm
not wasting any more time on that movie.
I was always a little bit more time to say, have a story, please. Like, I know there's minimalism and things like that, but have an actual story. Like, have some real conflict.
Well, let me hear you, Michelle. Sorry.
Okay, so there was a story. It was
no, there wasn't.
No, okay, listen.
There were events. Events are not stories.
So, okay, the film was about the Holocaust. Okay. But it's from the perspective of a high-ranking general from the Nazi side.
And his family, who are just acting like nothing's going on.
And his family, but it's focusing on their home and their life, like just beyond. There's like a wall, and then beyond it are like the gas chambers and the furnaces where they're killing all these Jews. And so on the other side, it's like this beautiful home. They have like a greenhouse and they have a pool and all this stuff. And it's very focused on the family and the whole
trash
thing.
Family too, by the way.
Well, the whole thing is about how nonchalant they're being about all this murder that's happening on the other side of their wall. And they're just living their own life. They're so involved in their family and what they're doing. And the only conflict that happened in the movie was that there was a possibility of them losing their home, and that they would have to be transferred to another location. So the whole thing is like, there was no conflict. I think that was the point. Like there was no conflict really in their own personal lives at home, but there's so much death happening outside of their doors that they're responsible for. And they're just acting like, oh, it's nothing's happening. And then they like the mother-in-law came and like they were showing off the home to the mother-in-law. And they're talking about like
a little more context. Like the wife, played by Sandra Hüller from Anatomy of a Fall. I think she acted better here than in Zone of Interest and in Anatomy of a Fall. But she's acting, and her mom is complimenting her the whole time of like, you've done so well for yourself. And she even jokes like, yeah, I'm like the Queen of Auschwitz.
Ooh. Yeah. So it's just, so I think the whole point of the film was to show how like evil people don't always look evil. They don't always act evil. Like they're acting very like, oh, it's fine, everything's fine. But in reality, the actions that they are taking are actually affecting other people. And it's not like, I don't know, it's kind of like they're totally disconnected from humanity and what they're doing to other humans, and they're just so involved in themselves and their life and their home that and a lot of people can relate to that. Like, I mean, people like us, we can relate to that. We're in our homes and we're doing our own thing, and there's somebody like a homeless person on the street, and we just kind of ignore them and do our own thing. And like there's people hurting out in the world, and sometimes we contribute to that and sometimes we don't, but there's like a lot of stuff happening, and we're just so focused on ourselves that we're not thinking of how we can actually change what's happening out in the world. So that's what I took from it. But
I took the same lesson as well.
That sounds like a story to me to tell. That sounds like they tried to tell something.
That's a parable.
Okay? It's still a story.
Yes, but a parable is like
a story with a lesson.
Classically known as like a couple of like sentences and like
that's
couple
a proverb.
Lines. Like, no, parables are literally just like a paragraph or two. Like it's not like it's not a full on act 1, act 2, act 3, or even like
maybe not
even like in a minimalist sense, like an inciting incident. You have some, even if it's super minimalist, you have some kind of like I'm thinking about this film Nomadland, one of the most minimalist films to have won a Best Picture Oscar nomination, and it's a film I hate. But even that film had more story in it than The Zone of Interest. And I just don't understand why it's on this list. And the director for this movie got a Best Director nomination. We'll get into that. And they gave this director a nomination. They didn't give Greta Gerwig a nomination. And I'm just saying, this film is not a Best Picture nomination. It's not Best Director nomination. It's nothing really in there for you besides Sandra Hüller's performance. It's ridiculous. So.
Well, I haven't seen it, but the little bit that I read up on it, I think that was the kind of takeaway, like Michelle was saying. It's trying to basically, I don't know, warn us that we can be those people on the other side of the wall. We are, just looking at even outside of the big, outside of the small, like, the homeless person outside of, on the street, thinking about America as a whole, maybe compared to
being American citizens. Yeah.
And what are current wars, genocides going on right next door in that sense, so I can kind of see like that being something of pertinence to want to tell the world.
I mean, I agree, but isn't that why we have Schindler? Isn't that why we have Schindler's List?
I mean, what a great movie! Whew.
A Best Picture.
I think it win Best Picture.
It won Best Picture. So I'm saying like an actual Best Picture. Like there's
but
nothing.
We need to be reminded. We really do, because we forget things.
we definitely do. We need to be reminded. But then the film just like cuts off, like in mid.
Yes, yeah.
Like in its ending, it cuts off, and then it has like, I want to say 5 minutes of people cleaning an Auschwitz museum and showing. It's a place where like it shows all the shoes that were left over by the people. Ugh. And it's like really tragic and really sad. But it's like, again, what were you saying? You should have just been a documentary. You're not a film. I mean, you're a documentary film. You're not a feature film. Like, again, this is a Best Picture feature list. Like, you don't belong in this. You don't belong here. And
I think that 10 minutes of just black screen really pissed him off.
It did piss me off. I'm sitting in the theater and people are talking and munching on their popcorn, and we're just sitting there like, is this gonna get started or not? Like, what are we doing? I'm
silent. They should have been quiet.
Some people in the front were talking. I was quiet. Michelle was quiet. But like, that's what I'm saying. That kind of nonsense invites that kind of negative behavior, and I don't even blame the audience, the theater audience, because they're sitting there like, I paid $20. I'm sitting here in this theater, and I'm sitting here in this expensive place, and y'all are letting me sit here in the dark with the strangers, and you're calling this a film experience as a Best Picture nomination? Like, get out of my face!
It was an experience.
Yeah, it could have done the exact same thing for
reach out and touch somebody. All right, go and touch some grass or something. Like, that director needs to go touch grass. That's all I'm going to say right now. He was in his feelings. Go ahead, Michelle.
They could have shortened that by like 75% and still gotten the same feeling
do
across.
It. Just don't do it at all.
No, but I get like you're setting the tone for whatever, but it was so long. It was like crazy. Incredibly long. And I was like, it got to the point where I was appreciating it. Like, okay, this is interesting.
For like 10 seconds, I was appreciating it.
But then it got to the point where I was like, is this like a Monty Python movie where they're just going to like show some craziness like at the end or something?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it could have been like, what's that movie with the dude from George of the Jungle?
Brendan, he was super large. The
whale, right? They could have been like that, and then you get some crazy thing in your face, right? But like a movie that kind of did this last year that I think got a Best Picture nomination and got a Best Actress nomination was Tar, right? So Tar's opening was very weird, but it still had moving pictures, moving things on the screen. The pixels were moving, so it kind of kept you like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. It had some subtitles and stuff like that, but didn't show you the full image until you got to like the main first scene where she's being interviewed by like a radio host or something. And like, have respect for your audience. We're not stupid people. Like, just like show something on the screen. And again, no gumshoe. I want to say something else, but no gumshoe to be like, I stand on this and this is what I'm going to do and this is my direction. You just like, and then you throw in 5 minutes of like B-roll footage essentially of a museum being cleaned in the morning. And like, it was just so annoying. So I would not recommend watching that film. And Now You Fall, I would recommend, even though like I have my issues with it. I would not recommend watching The Zone of Interest.
Interesting. I mean, I did save it for last for a reason. I just wasn't ready.
The only saving grace is that it's less than 2 hours. Sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
No, I was just saying you have to be in a specific mood to appreciate it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, so we discussed films that I wanted to take off the list, and there were some disagreements, so it's totally okay. But we'll start with you, Adriana. What films would you actually have in the Oscars best 10 or top 10 Best Picture nominated list? And like, which of those films would replace one of the actual nominated picks?
So for sure, there's one film on my list that I think should be nominated.
Oh no, that's right.
It is Saltburn.
No.
Saltburn should have been nominated for a Best Picture nominee. Yes, it should have.
And I
you haven't seen it.
I really enjoy Barry Keoghan as an actor, so I'll let that fly. But for the content, no.
It was superb. It took you on a journey you didn't ask to go on. That was the best part about it.
That's the worst kind of journey to be on.
That's why I loved it so much, because you're sitting there just like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore. But you write it out, and it's worth it. It is worth it. What a time.
So what film would it be replacing?
Well, I joked about replacing Zone of Interest solely because I haven't seen it, but I don't know. I feel like that's just not a fair,
Yeah, maybe choose a film
estimation
you've seen.
to make. Yeah. So maybe, that's tough. But maybe I would replace Maestro with it.
Yes.
Personally.
I'm okay with that.
We can keep Bradley Cooper for his best actor, but
yes.
Because I felt like it lacked so much in the sense of who Leonard was and what we could have displayed. Yeah, I would.
Like, there's so much more to the person than just like who he was sleeping with. And
exactly.
The film focused way too much on that, in my opinion.
I could have watched the whole film of him just literally directing. Like, those moments were fantastic. Like, let's focus.
Wait, directing, or do you mean
directing? Like, his orchestra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you mean conducting?
Oh, conducting. Sorry.
You need to watch Tar. You would have more respect for the position.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I apologize.
Also on Peacock, which is not a sponsor of the program, but should be.
If you're listening, Peacock. But yeah.
No, that's a great pick. I'm not a big fan of Saltburn.
Did you watch it?
I will watch it, but I don't want to watch it. I really don't want to watch it. Like that and Poor Things. I did not want to watch those films.
Don't compare the two because they're completely different movies. Completely.
You saw Poor Things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mercy. Mm-hmm. All right, Michelle, you have something, or should I go?
I do have something.
All right, go ahead.
Dream Scenario.
Yeah, that's what I forgot.
Cage.
That is the unsung film that no one is talking about. One of Nicolas Cage's best performances. He should have got a nomination for it. Sorry, go ahead, Michelle. I'm stealing your thunder.
No, I mean all of that, but like, yeah, I think it was really creative. I thought the acting was great, and the message, I don't know if there was like a clear message in it. There were a lot of different messages, but it was
a clear
similar.
Ending,
it was similar to like Maestro in the sense of like loving the people that you have in your life, and
when you have them.
Yeah, when you have them, and being there for them and not being so consumed with everything else that you're missing out on the relationship that's right in front of your face, kind of a thing. So yeah, I would say Dream Scenario would have been really great to have on the Best Picture list.
Yeah, and that is actually shocking. Now I'm mad. Now I'm actually mad about that. I'm mad because you can have something as shocking as Poor Things on the list, and I think it deserves to be on the list, and not like even think about Dream Scenario. It's like did Hollywood even watch it? That's like, because when we watched it, it was a packed theater. Everyone was laughing, crying. It was like such a, like, everyone was gasping. It was an experience. It was like a legit experience. It was not like as shocking as certain films, like what was that Korean film that won like 6 awards?
Parasite?
Awards?
Oh, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
No, Parasite. That wasn't. So that was focused on a Chinese family, not Korean. So let's get that right. And then also it was American based, but all right. Anyways.
Oh, it was
that was
Daniel
the more
brothers.
recent.
My bad.
Yeah, so Made in America.
Bad,
all right. Anyways. So Parasite, it felt like a Parasite watch, to be honest. Like, just, I don't know if you remember, Michelle, when we watched it, like the different gasps and like the horrors.
That was horrifying.
But I thought Dream Scenario had a lot of similar like tastes and a lot of similar reactions when we watched it.
Yeah, it wasn't as like heavy, but there were some shocking moments in there. It was good.
I thought it was. I think it's just as heavy because it's not. It's like,
well, it wasn't like murder.
Was there murder?
It was almost murder, like
almost, but not like a slaughtering of a whole family or something like.
But no. But Parasite didn't have a slaughter of a whole family. One person got murdered, and it was like that's what it was. Like Dream Scenario literally had a stalker show up in their house and like almost like gut them alive in their bedroom.
Nice. But it didn't show that. Like Parasite would have shown that.
Okay, fine. That's what I'm just saying. It's almost just as good as Parasite, and I'm surprised. That is a big snub right there. That was an amazing film, and the premise was so awesome as well. You have to watch that film when you get a chance to watch that film. Adriana, dream scenario. Nicolas Cage, one of his best, if not his best performance in his career, and he didn't even get a nomination.
And he produced it, didn't he? He was the producer and the writer.
Oh, I don't know. Fact check that. So yeah, that's a great pick. So which film on the list would you remove? Actually, I think I know. I think I know.
No, Maestro, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, 2 for Maestro. I thought you were gonna say Poor Things.
Oh no, you're gonna be surprised to hear what I have to say about that one.
But... I can't wait.
Yeah. We're gonna get into like the ones that we actually left on the list. All right. Is it my turn? Your turn. Yes, let's go. So I haven't seen this film, but I've heard many good things. I'm just gonna put on the list The Color Purple, and I'm gonna replace The Zone of Interest with The Color Purple. So I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it with my chest. I'm standing on something. I think that's just a better film. And also, musicals gotta get love. Like, why can we not give love to musicals in the Best Picture category?
They have gotten love in the Best Picture when they've deserved it.
Yeah, like that went back in the day with like Wizard of Oz. I mean, come on now.
I mean, not just Wizard of Oz, but yes, they have been nominated before for sure.
I mean, okay. Anyways, the point
like West Side Story.
Yeah, West Side Story by Steven Spielberg should not have been nominated. That remake should not have been nominated. He literally copied a film.
Oh, the remake was nominated?
The remake was nominated.
I didn't know that.
I was so mad.
That was 2001?
No, the one with the Rachel Ziegler young lady?
Yeah, 2020.
Because Steven Spielberg didn't make the first one.
No.
Yeah. No. So when we say Steven Spielberg, it's a remake. All right. Anyways, next point.
Okay.
Spider-Verse. I'm not gonna say the whole name. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. Animated films need to and deserve to be in the Best Picture nominated category. You can't have films that are taking you on incredible journeys. Let's even forget about the cinematography. Let's forget about the animation quality. Let's talk about the narration, the dialogue, the plot devices that are being used, like the emotions that you go on. I don't care if it's a roller coaster ride, according to certain directors. I don't care if it's a Marvel film, it's a superhero film. It is quality cinema. It's better than Zone of Interest, okay? It's way better than Zone of Interest. It's way better than Maestro. Like, I don't think anyone here would say Maestro is better than Spider-Verse.
The first one or the second one?
The second one. That's the one that came out last year.
Oh. I just didn't like the second one as good as the first one.
Well, yes, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about, is that better than Maestro or not?
I just don't know if you can. That feels too different to compare.
No.
You mean the be in the same category of Best Picture? That's it. Not
like Maestro's a different film than Poor Things, but we can still compare it.
Well, then throw, I don't know, Inside Out in there and throw Up in there.
Thank you. I would. But I would if the Academy would allow that. They would destroy.
I was going to stop to say they would win every time.
And that's what the Academy is afraid of, because Hollywood has this weird handout, extended, I don't want to touch you animation for some reason. They still call it kids cartoons and playthings and babysitter media and things like that. Animation deserves its due, and is exactly what you said, sis. Adriana, I got it. It's exactly what you said, Adriana.
Okay. That
people, I think, in the Academy would be afraid of animation sweeping the awards in all the years back to back.
Is that why? That's why they have their own category, though.
But no one.
They're the Best Picture of all the animated films. Because let me pose a question.
They only give you five. They only give you five choices, and it's just not good enough for me. But go ahead.
Let me pose a question. I don't know. Do you feel?
Would it trigger me? I'm triggered.
Do you both feel it's easier to convey certain emotions with animation versus not? And could that be a reason why animation is kind of excluded usually from that Best Picture category?
And is that because you think it's easier in animation to convey?
Yeah, because
so it's easier for them to do their job.
Well,
I don't think it's easier in terms of like the production of it, but the end result. Mm-hmm. I think like.
Oh, y'all just like here's a poop bag.
Well, no, but you think about it. No,
and just dump it.
No.
Like, so essentially, what you're saying is that all the hardworking people out there in animation, #animation, go after them, not me.
It's like a different.
Like your work is too easy, and that's why we can award you.
No, but imagine being able to create the exact, big doe eyes to convey an emotion in a story. You know what I mean? Whereas you are relying on humans to completely do that for you. Do you feel like it could be one of the reasons why?
I've never heard that before. Honestly, I've never even thought that. I've never even heard that. But if that's the reason why, that is poo-poo. I poo-poo that idea.
I poo-poo it?
But
it is poo-pooed.
It's kind of like if you're in an art contest and you nominate a painter for a sculpting category.
No,
I don't know.
We're not doing that. I will not allow the disrespect to happen in animation.
It's not. Yeah, it's just like there's different category. Yeah, it's a different way of doing it.
Wait. But the idea here is we're talking about storytelling. It doesn't matter what medium you're using. We're talking about storytelling. And who tells the best stories consistently from year to year to year? It's usually animation.
But if you do that, then that opens it up to video games and
I'm fine
TV
with that.
shows and all that. Because if it's just storytelling in general, there's a lot of storytelling going on in different.
Well, I mean, the ultimate like catch-all is like, is it feature length, right? Is it a feature length film, right? So it doesn't catch video games, doesn't catch TV shows. That's why we have the Emmys. That's why we have the Game Awards, right? But in feature length film, who is telling the best stories? Either make a new category, so you have the difference between live action and whatnot. But really, what is live action anyways? Which uses a ton of animated CG in the first place to do a lot of their films today, even in the Best Picture nominated films. So it's just another way for people to, in my opinion, I'm not saying you two are doing this, but other people use that kind of logic to say, hey, animated films, you're kind of on the other side of the spectrum, right? But we're going to use your technology, we're going to use your techniques in our pipelines to create our live action films and call them live action, but they're really not live action.
I don't know. It was just made me think. I was like, that could be, to me, it makes sense, to be honest with you. And like Michelle's analogy between, a painter and a sculptor, like still conveying art, but doing it in two different modes. Can you compare the two in that way, and that's why they have the category for animation and the category for Best Picture. Even with Best Picture, live action, human, where they use CGI and this, that, and the other, the CGI only still takes you so far. You still need that human aspect to act their butts off, right? To convey the emotion of whatever the scene is asking.
Whereas I think it's a fair
drawing it point out and making, which is talent, crazy. I could never.
It's very hard.
Trust and believe. No one's disagreeing with you on that, but it's still different, to create that yourself versus to be that. You have to be that.
See, so this is another thing that animation people have been talking about is why not give the opportunity for the animator of that character to be nominated for a Best Actor award, right? Because people are thinking about that you're drawing the exact emotion you're thinking of, but even doing that process is not as easy as you just made it seem.
I'm not saying it's easy though.
No, but I'm saying like when we say it just as like you can draw the emotion that you're thinking of, like it's still like conveying that over 24 frames per second, right? For a full like let's say 1 to 2 minute scene. Is still hardcore, but this is turning into a really long topic. I really like this discussion. Obviously, 2 versus 1, I got outvoted, so it is what it is. Lord. Sorry, animation.
No,
but I want to get. So I'm gonna say Spider-Verse replaces, and this is gonna be very controversial. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Spider-Verse replaces American Fiction for me. So, all right, move on.
Moving on.
All right. All right. I have two more films I want to talk about here real quick that I think really do deserve to be here as well, and they are live action. But Godzilla. Godzilla needs to be here. Godzilla would replace Anatomy of a Fall for me, and I think it's amazing. And when I say Godzilla, I mean Godzilla minus one, made in Japan, and it was like a foreign film release from Japan. It didn't even get in the foreign film department because Japan decided to put out another movie, and I think a country's allowed only one movie. I think that's how the rule is for the Oscars. So they chose another film, but in my opinion, Godzilla minus one was the best theater experience I had in the movies in 2023, and yeah, it was just wonderful. So I was bawling and crying at the end of the movie, and I needed like a moment to like sit by myself and kind of like come back down to earth. I'm really surprised it didn't get into best foreign film nomination or at least best picture. So that's where that's my opinion on that. Last film, sorry, I'm trying to go this really quickly because I've been talking a lot, is The Iron Claw.
Oh yeah,
I really want to watch that.
Yeah, that's a really good film. Yeah. Very heavy. Michelle, you want to speak on that?
I mean, I feel like that does deserve an Oscar nomination. Would that qualify for next year's?
No, because they actually did get released officially in 2023 in December.
Okay.
So
I feel like that should have been up here. Definitely, like Zac Efron deserves a nomination, and the film was amazing. So yeah, I would say it should be up in this list.
Yeah, I completely agree. Zac Efron got snubbed from a nomination standpoint. The whole movie got snubbed, and I would replace Maestro with The Iron Claw. I think it is a film that does a great job of staying on point with what's going on with its core characters, but then also wrestles with the idea of like marriage and relationships and family ties and things like that. And it makes you think about a lot of things about like, is family even worth it? There's a lot of stuff that you can go into with that film.
But don't say no more because I really want to watch that movie.
Yeah, no, I will stop. I will stop right there. I'll start there. It's an amazing film. Love that film. Okay, so let's get into. We'd love to hear from you, Michelle, and from you, Adriana. What is your best picture out of the best picture nominated films? Out of the best picture nominated films. So we're not taking any away from the list from the Oscars. Taking the list from the Oscars. What's your best picture nominated film? And then we're gonna go over that. And then we'll kind of go over through the list of like which of the films we like the most out of the 6 that I kind of kept on the list. And yeah. Who would like to go first?
You want to go or I can
Michelle.
Go? Okay. Okay, so this is hard for me to say, but it's true.
Oh no.
I think Poor Things should win.
What?
Best Picture.
Whoa.
Lady Power. Yeah.
No. That should have been Barbie then. It should have been Barbie if it's Lady Power.
Hold on. This is my thing. Poor Things is like an advanced retelling of Barbie.
No, don't say
it's the same story. Exact same story. It's this thing that was created. This woman that's like kind of created in a lab, and she's learning and growing and becoming more human and understanding who she is. The same thing with Barbie.
I feel right now.
Okay.
It was very raw and pornographic at times.
It was definitely not. It was pornographic. It was definitely pornographic. Don't watch that with your family.
But I think like, yeah, just like the seeing the growth. Barbie versus Emma Stone's character in this film, you can see the growth literally happening in Emma Stone's character versus Barbie kind of just making a choice at the end, like, I'm going to be human now. It's like, okay.
No. Let's not do that.
I love Barbie.
Greta, I'm sorry. Greta. I'm sorry. Keep going, Michelle.
But I love Barbie. Barbie's my number 2. Like, if Poor Things wasn't on there, Barbie would win. I love comedy, so like Barbie is like my favorite.
Poor Things was a comedy though.
Yeah, it was. So, that weird like frog thing Willem Dafoe was doing.
I died.
That movie was nasty. That's all I'm gonna say. The
But
movie was nasty.
it was so unique, and it was like very artistic, and the way that the set design and the acting and everything, it was really creative. And so I'm just like,
this is breaking my heart because we watched that movie together. We watched that movie together, and we had very similar reactions.
We did.
I'm so shocked. This is breaking my heart.
I have to be objective about it and look at both movies. I love Barbie. I'm not saying Barbie doesn't deserve anything. Like, Barbie deserves to be there. But I think Poor Things told the story of Barbie, but in a much more creative way. Barbie was just using the world of Mattel already, so it was kind of an easier thing.
Whoa! No. It was not easier. It was harder to do what she did with Mattel. That is a brand that everyone knows, and she flipped it upside down. Poor Things was out of the mind of somebody that you didn't have to worry about.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, Poor Things was created out of nothing. Barbie was created out of an IP that already exists.
It's harder to work with established IP than it is with something you create on your own.
That's
maybe not harder to work with, but harder to make it something bigger than what it is, which Barbie did become bigger than just Barbie. It became a movement, honestly. So that's where I think it is. Harder to break free from that, this is what we think of you already, and to get to another level, then yes. But I agree with Michelle in that regard, that was a creative telling. It was uncomfortable, but boy, was it very much creative. I don't think it came from anything,
not use
though.
The term creative, though.
I don't think it came from anything, though, because it did give Frankenstein vibes. Did anyone else get that? I was like, this is giving Frankenstein vibes for sure. Just Lady Frankenstein out here killing the game.
No, so I agree with that. I also just want to be careful with the term of just saying this was creative and this wasn't creative. Like, Barbie was creative.
I never said it wasn't creative.
Adriana said this was creative, and I was like, well, also Barbie was also creative.
We're not saying just because we omitted it didn't mean we're negating it.
Right, but also the story wasn't. I can see what you're saying. It's a more adult telling of Barbie, or maybe what Barbie 2 would be if they got the chance to do it. Because at the end, Barbie was like,
she becomes human. Like, this is her experience.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna go to the gynecologist and whatever, check her thing. So, but that's what she did. That's what she did at the end.
What does that have to do with anything?
No, but that was like that was it becoming.
That was her first human experience. Like,
that was becoming more of an adult film, and at that point. But it's more, Poor Things is more of a prodigal son story, but just completely flipped on its head. It's the prodigal son story from the Bible.
What?
If you don't think so, literally read the story and just be like, she is a young son that runs away and comes back later.
Yeah, but she didn't run away from a loving father who She ran away to find who she was, because she was
Godwin, called God, was her father.
Yes.
He literally birthed her in the lab.
Yes, but they created her and kept her. Like, she was their pet, like an experiment. Yes, they've loved her because they grew fond over her, but that would never compare to the prodigal son's father.
But she rejected the initial inheritance that she was going to have, right? And then she went off gallivanting in another land, learned a lesson, came back.
She only came back because he was sick. She didn't come back because, the world out there, I should have never left home. She didn't come back for that reason, which is what the prodigal son story is. So I wouldn't compare those two.
I would compare it because it has the same plot structure. I'm not saying exactly what it is, but I'm saying like the basic plot structure of it is the prodigal son story.
She only came back because he got sick.
Of course.
And then at her first opportunity, she bounced again. You know what I mean? It's not the same plot story or structure at all. She only came back because she got a letter that he was ill and dying. And she's like, well, I miss him. I don't want to never see him again if he leaves this planet. So let me go home, check on him.
Of course. But again, there are similar plot points and structure with the character.
That's reaching.
Again, I don't think it's reaching because you have the son, right? Her betrothed, like the older son, staying at home with the father. There's a whole lot of stuff in there that I could break down, but I don't have time for that right now.
This is Michelle's telling anyways. So Michelle, continue your telling of why you think Poor Things is your top pick, because I'm loving it. Loving it.
I mean, I kind of said what I thought, but it pretty much like Barbie and Poor Things are very similar in a lot of ways, and I love both films.
Can we just exclude Barbie out of this conversation, because I feel like we're attacking Barbie at this moment? I just want
how
to
okay,
hey,
but yeah. Anyway, Poor Things was like just super amazing in a lot of ways. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, you gotta look past those uncomfortable moments to what the story was telling. They were standing on something.
No, and that's why I didn't take it off my list for Best Picture nominations. And it was just so gross. Like the opening parts where it's just like very raw, black and white. He's cutting open and she's stabbing eyes. Like, I'm just like
squish.
Yeah, that was too much. I'm sorry, it was too much for me.
But I handled
picking
that
up the penis, and I was like,
"Don't
touch that!"
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was gross. It was.
Yeah.
So I'm good. But Adriana, what's your pick for Best Picture this year?
It is hard to pick one, and I just love like one.
Why is it
one
hard?
last thing I'll say about Poor Things. For me, Willem Dafoe killed it.
Yeah, did he get a Best Picture?
No,
Best
he didn't
Actor
get
nomination?
An actor or supporting actor, anything like that.
He definitely should have.
I thought
he
so
was amazing.
too. Because
his crack statement when he came to the wedding. I want to meme that forever. He's like, "Oh, you came, Godwin? Yes, I put 10 shots into my toes of crack cocaine, and I'm feeling good." You know, it's like,
oh man, or like how he was trying to explain why he didn't have like sexual feelings towards her, like. I was dying laughing.
It would take the electricity of London to get me to have an erection.
I was dying laughing. I said, "Man, this brother funny." Yeah.
So yeah, Godwin was a G right there. He was a G right there.
So that's my thing on Poor Things. But boy, very convincing, Michelle. Because I won't lie, the comparison between the two. We shall not say the other title.
The name that shall not be named.
No, I mean, I don't want to be a dictator on the show, so feel free to say it. I just
wholeheartedly disagree.
Just no. It's just with the snubbing that happened, I just feel real bad for Margot Robbie and Greta.
Sure,
so that's all.
Of course. But I just never thought about it like that, so that was pretty cool. That almost convinced me to change my answer.
Well, what is your answer?
Okay, so I'm looking at my notes right now. Initially, it was going to be The Holdovers. I love that movie. I could cry just thinking about it right now. So, fantastic movie. But you're going to hate this, Jesus. I am ready to see American Fiction with the Best Picture. I know it's not one that's even on your list.
I'm not going to hate it. I don't hate that.
But I just really thought it was very powerful and hilarious. I thought it was just a different telling, kind of how you brought up. It's like, yes, Jeffrey Wright's character, he's Black, but he comes from a very affluent family. And so the perspective is different. And right in the beginning, he's talking about how I don't even see color. Like, you don't normally hear Black people say that,
Yeah. But that opening scene was really good.
Yeah.
The whole N-word and everything. That was awesome.
So I just thought, like, what an interesting take on that, because yes, there's a lot of the whole like conflicts between Black and white, and then perceptions of each other and trying to understand the culture without, offending or appropriating or whatever. Right. But at the same time, it was an inward look at how Black people view Black people too. And that was powerful for me. I really enjoyed it, and I laughed a lot. So,
that's why for me, like, Jeffrey Wright's character is almost like a villain instead of the hero.
Kind of, definitely a little more antagonistic than your traditional whatever lead. But yeah, so that one became my pick after I watched it. It was Holdovers though. Paul Giamatti, love that guy with the crazy eyes. Love him so much.
So I'm actually really surprised that you would even go with The Holdovers first and then move over to American Fiction without even discussing Past Lives.
And I had this conversation outside of this, this realm right here. And I love to see Asian people in movies. Like, I'm gonna just say it. It's freaking epic. I'm watching everything I can that's got full Asian cast. Like, let's go.
For sure.
AKA Brother Son. People, watch it.
On Netflix?
Yes. Fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna with Michelle Yeoh. Definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah. But I just felt like it was a lot of nothing.
What?
I love the idea of the Inyon. I love the idea of that. But it just felt like the only good parts of the movie is when they were together or talking. And we just went through a whole bunch of blank space in between those moments. And then the ending was kind of riveting in the sense where it's almost like, see you in the next life type vibes. You know, that's what I took from it, you know, with the whole drive off crying. But I was mad. I felt unresolved, okay?
What are you?
I did not like that they did not get together. She should have left her husband. I was upset.
No, that's the whole point of the film. That's the whole point of the film.
I don't like it.
His whole point is to be
dragged me along for decades.
Your relationship.
No, she dragged me along for decades.
It's his own fault for not asking her out when they had this.
It doesn't matter.
The what's it called? The Skype. The relationship would not have worked. She was already fully Americanized and Westernized. She had all her life in America and Canada. He was not willing to change his life in Korea, and she was not willing to change her life in America. That would not have worked. That was the whole point. No, that's ridiculous.
They are meant to be. They are no.
They're really not. Yeah. Like, the dude didn't have no chemistry. He was shy. He didn't know what to say. Mainly, she was driving most of the conversation.
Were you at the bar with the rest of us? He didn't have chemistry.
That was so directed of like, oh, don't let have the husband not talk and not say nothing.
And they're talking their own language. It was beautiful. That was the best scene in the whole film. She should have said, "Husband, thank you for your time and effort."
No, that's ridiculous.
I left him at the bar.
No, not for that man. Now, if it was like a beautiful looking man,
he was beautiful. Are you kidding?
He was
way more handsome than the husband, and I love a good Jewish boy, like so cute. But
no, but they're both average. Let's just say it. They're both average. They were both average.
Boyfriend was way cuter than husband. Yes.
No, the dude was average when he was young, and he was average when he got old.
Child when we seen him young,
and he was average when he was young, and he was average when he got old. She had a glow up. He did not have a glow up. He had a glow down.
Oh, she's very let's be real. Yes.
Yeah, but she had a glow up.
This is why I had left it off my list. And people were so like, "Wow, you gotta watch this movie." Da, 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 da. And I don't know.
It was good. It's almost my best picture.
Oh, well, let's just segue right to there because you're never gonna convince me otherwise.
I know I'm not convinced you, but I'm gonna fight for this film and be like, that's the whole point. She was faithful to the life, the Indian that she had with her husband. The best scene in the film, in my opinion, is when they're sitting up in bed and he's still feeling the whole emotions of like the first day that she hung out with her Korean friend. Yeah. And so like, and he goes on and on about like, I'm getting in your way. I'm getting in your way. And she's like, no, I chose this life. As a married person, that was a beautiful, beautiful scene. And that was the best scene in the film because it really discussed in depth, because the conversation in the bar was so shallow because they both were too scared to say what they wanted to say, especially him. And if I was him, if I flew all the way over from Korea and spent all that money to be in the rainy New York City, I would have been like, girl, look, in Korean or in English, do you want to be with me or not?
Girl, look.
Do you want to be with me or not? Because I ain't playing this game no more. I ditched some other girl who actually probably loved me, and I have all these like self-doubt, doubting thoughts about myself. Do you want to be with me or not? Because I'm leaving and I'm going back to Korea and I ain't coming back. And don't hit me up on Skype no more with your foolishness of like, I'm not going to talk to you.
Don't find me on Facebook.
Don't find me. I'm not going to find you. We're done. But if you want me, I'm here right now. No. That husband showed exactly how you treat a lady in that situation. Now, if it had been me, I'd have been in that brother's face. But that's a whole different. We obviously have different cultures and stuff like that. But he showed great self-control, great trust in the relationship.
The husband, yeah.
And the wife rewarded him for it, and that's how relationships work. Not like, oh, some dude from 20 years ago who was like bouncing the basketball with me as we walked up the stairs, came back out of nowhere, who has no game whatsoever, lived with his own parents, and then all of a sudden I'm about to leave
very
you.
Traditional.
No. He lived with his parents. I don't care what tradition it is, and like. I'm supposed to leave you after we've established a whole life together. My family likes you, and you learned enough Korean to speak well with my Korean friend. Nah, he put in that work, and the home dude couldn't even speak English well enough. And you want to be with her? Nah. We ain't playing that. We can skip all that. We ain't playing that here. But I respect your opinion. I highly disagree with your opinion, but I respect your opinion.
That scene, though, you're talking about where they're in the bed, yes, the husband's very respectful of what she was experiencing and going through and feeling. Totally agree. He handled that proper. I was more miffed with her, honestly. I felt she was kind of like, I don't know, almost dismissive of how he felt in that moment, and just kind of like blanketing, like, no, I choose you. I choose this life. It didn't really acknowledge the fact that he was feeling this way. It was just like, no, you don't have to worry. Okay. I choose this life. I chose you, instead of just like sitting with him in the moment of his feelings, because they're 100% valid, So I didn't feel it was very powerful. I felt she was just kind of dismissive, honestly.
I wouldn't say dismissive, but I think
you're fine. Don't worry about it. And that was just the vibe I kind of got.
I think she was a little more dishonest when they're in the bathroom getting ready to go to bed. And he's like, do you find him attractive? And she's like, I don't know. Or I don't think so. Like, that's not an answer the husband wants to hear. Like, are you attractive or not? Yeah. Like, say it.
Yeah. So is that your pick?
No. So my best picture. Here we go. Michelle already knows. And the best picture goes to Killers of the Flower Moon, produced by Martin Scorsese, Daniel Lupi, Dan Friedkin, and Bradley Thomas. The best movie of 2023. Let's go. Now, if it hadn't come out, it would be Barbie. Barbie would be my best picture. But yeah, this film came out. It was 4 hours long. I legitimately stayed 4 hours in the theater, took no bathroom breaks, and I stayed in there and struggled throughout the entire process. But the pacing of that film was actually so well done, and the acting and the conflict and the back and forth between the husband and wife, and like, hey, I love you, but I'm gonna talk to my brother who's gonna kill your sister, and hey, I love you, we're gonna catch those bad guys, but my grandpa, my uncle killed your mama, right? Like,
you're like, we're gonna catch the bad guys, and I'm the bad guy.
Well, so it was such a conflicted relationship, and then it spoke to so much of the history of Oklahoma. It talked to like the Tulsa situation, Red Summer. It talked about like the stuff with the Native American tribe as well. But it told it in such a way where it wasn't like a Judas and the Black Messiah film where it's like, this is what we're talking about and we're mad about it, which is totally valid. A great film. But it was just like, it took me on an experience, on a journey of a story of a woman who was struggling between like loving a man from a different culture and realizing that her family's literally getting murdered all around her, and having no hope at all to any kind of resolution. Because in the end, they got arrested and then they got released like 5 or 10 years after the fact, and we're just chilling. Him and his brother, like I can understand his relationship to his uncle, but his brother literally killed her sister, like literally like was the hands that killed her, and he was just like, "What's up, bro? What's going on?" Like that was crazy to me. But the way it just told it, it was just such a beautiful film. And I usually do not like Martin Scorsese films. Like, I don't think he's one of the greatest directors of all time, kind of thing. But this film convinced me that he knows what he's doing. And because of that draw, like, it was something I didn't want to watch. It was something it's a story I don't want to see. It's a story I really don't want to go into. It's a director I don't actually like. And I was like, I came out of the film like, that's the best picture of the year. That is the best picture of the year. Production, acting. It has the best actors of the year. It has one of the best actor performances, if not the best actor performance, Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't care if he didn't get a nomination. He was a wonderful performer, and he convinced me. Even though I love Leo, I hate Leo. I mean, this was like Django Unchained, but on steroids, because he was literally doing the work of killing and annihilating her family. So, and yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But that's my best picture of the year.
I mean, I agree. It was a fantastic film. It was well paced because I stayed up till 2 a.m. watching it. Didn't want to turn it off or go to bed.
Yeah, like watching Anatomy of a Fall, Zone of Interest, Maestro was like, oh, can we end these films? Can I just get out of these experiences? Like in the theater for Zone of Interest, I was like, is this over? I almost went to my phone. To check the time.
Yikes.
but like Killers of the Flower Moon for 4 hours or 3 hours and 45 minutes, whatever. Like I did not move, like except for like wiggling my my pelvis to like squirm a little bit because I needed to pee. But like
wiggling my pelvis a little bit.
I didn't move. Like I was immersed and enthralled, and I don't even think there was actually like an intermission. To be honest, I don't even think there's an intermission. So, like, it was so good.
Yeah, I really.
And it was a story that I had not heard, and it's a story that needed to be told. Like that's sorry.
No, but I agree. Like that is really cool to see a movie like on that scale, talking about a story of about people that don't really get that much shine. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was really epic. And I'll just say one thing: my favorite actor in that movie was Lily Gladstone. I think her name is.
Yeah, she's best actress.
The way she just felt so subtle. The way she portrayed this character.
Yeah.
But also I found myself getting angry with her because I wanted her to I was like, girl, this man ain't good. This man is killing you. And she was like such a dutiful wife to the very end, where she just came to him so softly in every way, even though he didn't deserve it.
And then at the very end where she's like, did you actually do
what
that?
was in those shots?
And she tried to give him a chance.
She was so be honest. Oh man! And it just got up and left. I said, I could never.
No,
I would have been raging. Okay.
I like, hey, call the Warriors. Call the Warriors. Ooh. Hey, round these people up. We burning them alive right now. We're doing it right now.
So I was thoroughly impressed with how she portrayed
Fire Lord Sozin on all of them right now. Let's go. No, but yeah, Michelle, if you want to say something.
I haven't seen the movie, so.
Oh, I thought you said saw it together.
No, not this one. I went by myself and saw this one.
I thought you weren't there while he was wiggling his pelvis.
No, it's such a good film. I recommend everyone to watch it. It's on Apple TV Plus for everyone to watch it. It's one of the best investments I think Apple's made in a film thus far as they start this journey into film. Yeah. And it's not going to win Best Picture, and that's the next question that I have for y'all. But I think it should. I really do think, like, from a quality standpoint, acting standpoint, directing standpoint, like you said, the scale, the scope of this like production. But which film do you think is actually going to win Best Picture? I think I know the answer, but I'll wait until you two go first.
After you, Michelle.
Okay. Honestly, I feel like it's gonna be The Zone of Interest.
If it is,
like the Oscars do that sometimes. It's like the one you're like, I've never, like, I don't know, I wouldn't see this, or like, like they just pick like the weird, like, I don't know. Not that this is weird. It's just
I see.
So
I don't know how to explain it. It's more of like the art house kind of film, like. It's really subtle and you have to like really dig into it to like understand the meaning and all that stuff. It's not like in your face like some of the other films, but I feel like The Zone of Interest would win, or Killers of the Flower Moon, although I didn't see that one yet. But yeah, those are my two.
For sure.
I don't know. I feel like everyone wants Oppenheimer to win. Like we haven't even talked about that one, but I really do feel like that is a front runner. But I honestly think Poor Things is gonna win. I think it has that just enough weird, but at the same time, I just really see it stealing the show personally. I don't know.
Yeah, no. So that's what I was gonna say. Oppenheimer, it won the Golden Globes Best Picture for a feature-length drama. So that's kind of like the tell-all that if you win Golden Globes, you're most likely going to win in the Academy Awards. Yeah. And essentially, since they're kind of giving, and here's the thing, I think he's going to sweep. I think Christopher Nolan is due for Best Director as well. So
I wouldn't be mad at that.
No, I wouldn't be mad. I think he's been due for a long time. It is not his best film in my opinion, but it's been due for a long time. So I think it's just going to be a sweep for him, Best Picture and Best Director, and then finally the Christopher Nolan fans will be like, hey. We got our due, kind of thing. Kind of like what they did for Leo, like 4 or 5 years ago with the Remnant or something.
No, wasn't he an Oscar for Wolf of Wall Street?
Right, but he won for The Revenant.
Oh, I swear.
The film where he got like mauled by a bear.
Really? That's the movie he won for?
Yeah, I think that's the one he won for. You can fact check me, but I think that's the one he won for.
I thought it was that wolf movie. Anyways.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So films. I mean, we pretty much talked about all the films. We didn't go into the holdovers too much, but we ended up talking about everybody. Everyone knows how I feel about Barbie. I don't think much needs to be said. It was nominated for Best Picture, so that's good. And so that is a win for Margot Robbie, since she is one of the main producers for that film.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, other categories I do want to spend some time on before we start wrapping things up are the actor positions. I do think there's been a lot of craziness in that realm. And so, actor in a leading role, we have the nominees: Bradley Cooper. That's a green light for me. Coleman Domingo from Rustin. It's on Netflix. I still need to watch that, so I have nothing to say about his performance, but good for him. Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers. I think he'll probably be the one who wins. Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer, and then Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. And so I'll just say it outright. I don't think Jeffrey Wright should be here for American Fiction.
I kind of agree with you. I think the film as a whole, superb, but like, I don't think his performance was stand out enough to be actor in a leading role. I haven't seen Rustin either, but I won't lie to you, that Coleman Domingo is so cute. Okay, he's just like,
that's not what we're discussing.
So sweet.
So let's.
I just want him the best for him. Okay.
Okay, well, we're not discussing anyone's attractiveness here. That's not.
No, cute as in his countenance. Like, he's just like the sweetest person in every interview.
Okay, well, that still doesn't count for anything. It's about your performance on screen. Anyways, so but people that we'd like to see in this role, I think Zac Efron should be in here. I would replace Jeffrey Wright with Zac Efron. I know that would be bad because then you can have #OscarsSoWhite, but like Zac Efron in The Iron Claw was just amazing. Like just amazing.
Yeah.
I can't say anything more than just amazing. If you don't put him in, I don't see why you don't have Leonardo DiCaprio in here. He did a great job in his role.
I thought so too. Especially the way he had his face like this the whole time. Remember?
Yeah.
Like, he's pulling some Marlon Brando stuff from Godfather.
Yeah, he really transformed himself in that film. Gosh, and I really fully believed his character.
And did not like him at all.
But I did like there's a weird conflict where I kind of felt bad for him, but obviously not really. But like,
he's dumb.
Then because when he started poisoning his wife, then I was like, okay, I'm off.
Exactly. You're like, okay, I'm on this side of the fence now.
Yeah. But yeah, Michelle, you have any thoughts on actor in lead role?
No.
Like, sure. Just give it to Cillian or Giamatti at this point. But I could see it Murphy.
Yeah. So I think
Murphy would be good.
Cillian is supposed to be the front runner, but because of Paul Giamatti, it's kind of it'd be like an honorable career moment for him, so he hasn't won. So I think that's why I think Paul's gonna probably win. I want to say Cillian won in the Golden Globes. I forget who won, but they'll probably do a switch off. Like whoever won Golden Globes will win Oscars. Whoever won Oscars won Golden Globes, kind of thing.
Cillian's gonna get it. Oppenheimer just gonna sweep. Watch.
It's very much. We haven't had an American-based film. No, we had Everything Everywhere All at Once. So my bad. My apologies. All right. So actor in a supporting role nominees. Now this one is strong for me. Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction, makes complete sense. Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, complete sense. Ryan Gosling and Barbie, complete sense. I almost wanted to put him in a leading role, but I get it. Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things, even though I hate his character, makes complete sense. But this is what does not make sense for me. Robert Downey Jr., who, yes, he's Iron Man, and we love him, but he ain't no nominee. Like, what's his name doing in that there? Like, put Barry Keoghan in there. Put, like,
well, Barry would be the lead. He's not a supporting in that one. It would be Jacob Elordi would be the supporting.
I think Robert Downey Jr. deserves to be there. I don't think Ryan Gosling deserves an Oscar.
What are you? Whoa!
I love this.
Stop!
Go at it, you too.
No.
It wasn't. It was just a cheesy, that's the character.
Wow.
But I'm saying
that was cheesy.
No, let us speak. Hold on.
that's the character, but it wasn't like this moving, like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing performance. It was like, yeah, he's hilarious, but it didn't move me, you know. But like Cillian Murphy moved me, Robert Downey Jr. moved me. It's like, I don't know.
How did he move you? You didn't do much.
No, I mean, like, being involved in the story, like, it made me feel something.
Yeah, and
like,
there
was for his character,
for the conflict and stuff. Yeah,
he was one of the villains, if anything, you know, of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you weren't.
Doesn't seem to matter what I do. Oh, I'm always number 2. No one knows how hard I tried. Oh, I have feelings that I can't explain, driving me insane. All my life been so polite, but I'll sleep alone tonight. Come on, say it with me, cause I'm just kidding.
Anyway,
like he literally. If the only reason why Margot Robbie doesn't have an Oscar nomination for this film is because Ken, played by Ryan Gosling, stole a lot of the movie from her by just being amazing. Call it cheesy, call it cringy, whatever you want. He performed in the role that he was given to him. It's not fair just because it's a comedy film, you take that away from it.
No, that's not it.
But she's allowed to say if the character moved her or not, if she felt something from the character's performance.
Of course she's allowed to say it. Go ahead, Michelle.
I just think, like, they should have switched it. Like, Margot Robbie should have been nominated, and Ryan Gosling should not have.
I agree with that.
That's what I think.
Why can't we live in a world where both of them are nominated and we just take away what's his name, Robert Downey Jr., who should not have been nominated?
Well, we don't live in that world, apparently.
Yes, so we don't. But in an alternative, I don't want to even go into that because I don't believe in that stuff. But like Robert Downey Jr., if you just look at his performance, he had like 5 scenes really, and they're all scenes of him just like getting upset at people because they didn't give him the respect that he needed or whatever. And he didn't even come up as like a central character until like halfway through the film when you realize, oh, he's the reason why Oppenheimer is up for trial in the first place, because he felt like he got snubbed by Albert Einstein.
But that was a nice character arc. Like there was some dimension there that grew from that for him, where it's just kind of like we took him for this face value, and then we realized, oh nope, he's a villain. And the conversations he had with I don't know who that young man was from the investigation, who was like taking notes. I don't know who he was, but the one he was talking to primarily, like it was interesting to see him almost become like, like when the devil like this, like all of a sudden his face starts to show, like he can no longer keep the mask on, that's how I felt with his character. Like the devil was coming out and he couldn't keep his mask together anymore.
Yeah.
I got that from his character, even if it wasn't many
scenes. It was a nice twist.
Yeah, so I completely disagree. I think you replace him with Jeremy Allen White, who played Carrie Van Erich in The Iron Claw. He had a lot more powerful scenes. He had a lot more emotional trauma and more physical acting he had to do throughout the film. And so that's you replace it. Like, I'm not saying Robert Downey's performance was terrible. What I like to do is like, okay, whose performance can we clearly say was maybe better, right, in a supporting role? And I can clearly think of like at least a couple more people that like could replace him in that role. Like that's what I'm really trying to get to.
Well, I can think of one, and I think I said it earlier, that has been snubbed and really deserves to be in this supporting role, and that's Snoop. Snoop the dog from Anatomy of a Fall deserves to be nominated.
All right, y'all. We
can take out Mark Ruffalo. We can take out Ryan Gosling.
We're gonna. This is the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
Goodbye, Robert Downey, and hello, Snoop.
I want to see the dog go accept the award on stage.
He would do it. He'd be like,
"Are you sure it's a male dog?"
And then he has like a special harness on to like hold the award and like walk off.
Are we sure it's a male dog?
All I know is his name is Snoop, so I'm not sure.
Thank you. All right, so this is the last time we use patrons. Thank you, patrons, for supporting us, but we're not going to use it anymore.
I'll take you my $5 back.
Oh my goodness gracious!
But do you disagree, Jesus? You saw the movie.
I disagree.
Really?
It was a good dog, but I'm not gonna put it in best actor. Put it in best pet.
Best supporting actor.
No,
that dog made the case for her innocence.
Then you give it to the child because he had the idea of poisoning the dog in the first place.
but the dog made it come to life.
No,
this kind of sounds like the best animated feature argument. Like
dogs versus humans.
This is ridiculous.
Best pet in a movie.
Oh, I would love a category for like best animal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Justice for Homeward Bound.
Okay, we'll keep it moving. We said how we feel, and we feel what we said. All right, let's get into the actresses. Actress in a leading role. Nominees: Annette Bening for Nyad. I have still not seen it, but it's on Netflix. I will watch it before the Oscars and be ready for the post-Oscars podcast episode. So be ready for that, listeners. Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon. Let's go. Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall. Yeah, that's fine. Carey Mulligan for Maestro. Let's go. And then Emma Stone for Poor Things. So Emma Stone, even though Lily Gladstone is going to win, Emma Stone really gave the performance of a year, and obviously I still think Margot Robbie should still be here. And I would take off Sandra Hüller from the nomination and put Margot Robbie there. She had a lot more to do. She literally put the whole movie on her shoulders, produced, and also acted. Give her the nomination. She shouldn't win, but give her the nomination.
You just think though it's going to Lily?
She won in the Golden Globes. She won in the SAG.
Emma Awards. Won a Golden Globe.
No, Emma won a Golden Globe, but Lily got the best feature. Like they have different categories, and for like best drama feature or whatever, like I think she won for the best. I think Emma won for the best comedy category. So like Lily won for Golden Globes and also for SAG. Okay. So I think she's gonna win it. She's gonna sweep the whole award season.
I mean, it tracks. Like she not only was performance great, but it would be really impressive to have that under their belt of. A Native American female getting the Oscar,
Exactly. Since
like well deserved.
The Oscars have had like a tepid past with Native Americans trying to accept awards or just trying to speak with, almost getting tackled and stuff like that. But anyways, that's a whole nother history. And actress in the supporting role nominees: Emily Blunt from Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks from The Color Purple, America Ferrera from Barbie, Jodie Foster from Nyad, and Davine Joy Randolph from The Holdovers. Now, the obvious person that shouldn't be on this list is Emily Blunt from Oppenheimer. But the person that really shouldn't be on this list, and even though, again, I like both actresses, but this woman should not be on this list, even though she gave a rousing speech. America Ferrera from Barbie shouldn't be on the list at all.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not going to put on Margot Robbie, and then you put in America Ferrera, give her a nomination, but she's amazing. I'm sorry, Ferrera Rocher, but like,
that's what I think.
She's amazing, but that was not a Best Picture nomination performance, even with the speech included. It's just not.
I think they're just trying to cover the bases with diversity. Like we have a Hispanic woman, we have an Indian woman, we have or Native American. Sorry,
Native American. Michelle.
Sorry,
I mean in the movie, and then, Indians, and it's even Native American.
We're not going back to 1921 right now, y'all.
I swore it changed from Native American to like American Indian. Like I for the longest, I thought Native American was recently not okay anymore either. We should double check.
Yeah,
it's Native American for sure.
Wow,
I feel very confident in that. But anyways, we're all learning and growing together.
But right? I agree with you on America Ferrera Rocher. I do think it was like the diversity higher, and I love that monologue she gives. Love it. I have it. I screenshotted it, and I read it every now and again. But besides that, the rest of her performance, I wouldn't categorize it as
it was just average.
I mean, average. I mean, mercy.
Just not Oscar nominated.
The shots, like if y'all want to get a shotgun and just go to Margot Robbie's house and just shoot at her, like fine. But like, let's just relax a little bit.
I didn't say average. Oscar nominated worthy. Like.
Thank you. That's better. That's better. So, people we replaced them with, and to be honest, I wasn't as prepared on this one. But
supporting?
I'm gonna just shoot. I don't know the actress's name, but I would say the supporting actress for Godzilla -1 did an amazing job in there, and that's honestly the supporting act or the lead actor in that movie was amazing too. But that's what I'm gonna go with for a replacement for America Ferrera. I'm not mad at Emily Blunt getting Oppenheimer nomination, but like you have to do more, right? For me, you have to do more. It's like last year with the Spielberg family movie, and they nominated the mom, and she literally just had like one or two key scenes, and it's just like, even though yes, her character was the crux of the plot, the amount of responsibility she had for the film as far as acting in those scenes was like 10% maybe, and it's like that's not enough for me to give you a nomination.
I can see that.
And so Emily Blunt, I would like to see for that film Florence Pugh get the nomination, because it was her character and her performance that actually brought into question his Oppenheimer's communistic tendencies, and actually made the relationship between Oppenheimer and Emily Blunt's character, his wife, like it made it tenuous.
Yeah, but they did the character that she played so dirty, honestly.
So give her a nomination, so at least there's something.
I just feel like there's not enough there with her character development to even nominate her, because the folks who made the movie decided to cut like her entire story out of there and just make her one thing. And there's so much more from what I read about her and like from the book that they made this movie off of that would have made that movie in general that much better for me, I think.
Yeah.
Because it almost felt she was unnecessary. So why would you nominate her,
Whoa, she was not unnecessary.
The parts that we got from her, like, yes, I get the antagonist between the marriage and then, the whole communist thing too.
She was the whole reason.
I get it, but you don't get enough explanation as to why. It's more just like, oh, they're attracted to each other, they have sex, she puts his ideas in his head. When do we see that she's the one who twisted his mind or made him start questioning things? We don't see that part, and then we also don't see her character development in regards to her sexuality and why she was the way she was in those scenes with him. Almost disinterested, like
almost. That's the key word. Almost.
But or needed something else for him to be doing for her to go through with some of these like sexual acts. The reason why she even killed herself. Like there's just so much more they could have done with her. Then totally give her a nom, but not with what they gave her.
And see, but that is exactly my case for Emily Blunt getting a nomination. And again, going back to Robert Downey Jr., but Emily Blunt, like literally just like she entered the scene after the first sexual encounter with Florence Pugh's character, and after they do the horse ride, like there's the horse riding scene, and then there's the scene where she chases him down in the forest and says, "You need to do this," kind of thing, and like kind of stuff.
And then
like
just her in the room where he's testifying, and she's just.
Nah, I mean that's
like,
nothing.
But I'm saying like those are really only her key moments.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's 2 scenes. I can count on my hand. 2 scenes. Like that's not Best Picture nomination. You need to do more. I'm not saying it was a bad performance. I want to see more before I give you a Best Picture nomination.
Agree. I have a replacement for supporting actress.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
Rosamund Pike from Saltburn. Listen, that woman acted her butt off, okay? And it was subtle and hilarious and just insane. It was fantastic. There's a line in the movie where she talks about how she was a lesbian once. And I'm telling you, I went back and replayed it 20 times. Wes was there. I'm like, nope, let's watch it again. It was just so good. She delivered those punches so well. I think she could have been.
I'm excited to see that scene.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I'm excited to see that scene.
I like a
good rant.
Fan-freaking-tastic. So that's my take.
All right. Michelle, did you have any thoughts on actress in a supporting role?
No. I agree with everything that was said here.
About Emily Blunt?
Yeah, it's just not enough. Like the characters needed to be fleshed out and like just given more time on screen.
Yeah.
For it to feel like it mattered more.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, so one of our last categories, we have like a couple more categories. So we have animated feature film. We're gonna get to that right now. We can talk about directing, but we kind of did already. So we'll talk about that for like a very brief short moment. And then Michelle, do you want to talk about film editing?
Let's see. I think I'm trying to find it here. I can't find it. Let's talk about something else, and then we could get to that if we have time.
Yeah. Let's not get to it. So and then we'll go into music original song. So Those are the last three categories. There is okay. I'll say there is the writing parts too. So I'll say the two writing sections will do that instead of film editing. Is that cool, Michelle?
Yeah. And just to keep in mind, we've been recording for almost 2 hours.
Yes. Oh wow. Thank you. All right, we're almost done. So let's get into animated feature film. I think this will go pretty short because I'm probably the main one who's upset about certain things. But in the best in animated feature film, we have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, which I have not seen because it's not available to see anywhere. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So I think all the nominees here are well deserved. I would switch The Boy and the Heron for Suzume, and that's really it. To be honest, I would just switch it for Suzume.
And you watched The Boy and the Heron?
I watched The Boy and the Heron. I watched all the films except for Robot Dreams on this list. And The Boy and the Heron is a good film, well animated. But if you're just going to be like, here's our token anime film for the year, then I would give it to Suzume. And Michelle actually watched it with me, and I think you would agree, right? You watched Boy and the Heron with me, and you watched Suzume with me.
Which one do you think is better? I did enjoy Suzume more. I felt more emotionally connected to the characters. The Boy and the Heron kind of felt more like a Zone of Interest type of film.
Yeah.
Yeah. But out of like all these films, I would say Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse should probably win.
I agree. I think it will, honestly. As much as I loved Elemental. And I don't like it as much as the first, but yeah, I could see Spider-Man being the winner here.
Yeah, so I want Spider-Man to win, but actually it looks like The Boy and the Heron is going to win. It won, I believe it won in the Golden Globe, and it won in the Critics' Choice Awards for that category. So a lot of people love and respect Hayao Miyazaki, and so it just comes with the territory. And also because a lot of people didn't like the fact that it just like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse like ended with just that cut, and it didn't really have a completed third act. And yeah, so I think that's why it won't win, to be honest with you. But at least it got nominated.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, moving on. Directing, we have Anatomy of the Fall, Justine Triet, who's the lone female. Should be two females, but Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, and then Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos, and then The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer, who should not be on the list. Do we have any disagreements or any other people we want to put on the list?
Greta Gerwig should be on the list.
Completely agree. Completely agree. Who do you think who you think should win, or who do you want to win?
I feel like Christopher Nolan should win.
But who do you want to win?
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as directing is concerned,
I'd like to see that. I don't know if he will though.
Yeah. But also, I actually want to give it to Martin because he had a couple films where he just went against Parasite when he had his last big film out. So I just like to give him another best director.
Another one.
Yeah, because Killers of the Flower Moon is my best movie of the year. True. So, yeah. Okay, cool. So, music original song. We have The Fire Inside. So these are songs that are sung like what? And correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle. They're sung in the movie or like they're sung somewhere in the film.
Well, they're created for the movie.
Oh, right. I see.
But it's like a kind of like. I don't know how to say it. It's not a composition, so it's not background music. It's like a song you would hear on the radio, but it's made for the film.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they have an original score section.
Yeah, and I didn't really study the scores from all these enough to really have like that big of an opinion. Like, obviously Ludwig Göransson, he won Golden Globe for Oppenheimer's score, and that was a pretty good score. I really enjoyed John Williams' score for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. but like I didn't really study them, so I don't want to give much of an opinion on them because I'll just be biased and say John Williams because I just love John Williams.
I mean, just give him all of the Oscars.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, man. We call it the John Williams Awards, and I'm good with that. But yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good.
All right, so music, original song, we have The Fire Inside from Flaming Hot. I don't know what that is. I'm Just Ken from Barbie, which should win. It Never Went Away from American Symphony.
Mark Ronson did that song, it says. He did music and lyrics. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Nice. He's a pretty famed lyricist.
Oh, yeah.
A music person. And then Wahaze, that's how I'm going to say it. A Song for My People.
Wazaze.
And I said it never went away from American Symphony. It's like it never went away. Racism.
Mercy.
And then what was I made for from Barbie? Obviously Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connor.
That is my pick.
That's mine too.
Although I have not heard the other ones.
Can we stop? It's I'm Just Ken, y'all. But it's I'm Just Ken for real, y'all.
I'm Just Ken is fun and great. And
my gosh.
I really enjoy that song. But what had me crying and unable to leave my seat at the end of that
had
movie
me crying too.
Was What Was I Made For? And the way she sung it.
It better be I'm Just Ken. I'm just saying right now. It better be I'm Just Ken. Stop the disrespect.
I don't know.
If you don't have I'm Just Ken, there is no What Was I Made For? All right? That's just how it is.
That's not true.
Yes, it is true because it sets up the downward spiral you go on at the rest of the film.
I don't know if that's true because you first hear What Was I Made For when Barbie is looking for the human girl and she's sitting at the bus stop next to that old woman because she got mouthed off by the daughter. That's when you first hear the song. So it's not, I think What Was I Made For is for Barbie and does nothing to do with I'm Just Ken. You hear that song first. I just watched the movie too, so I know it fresh off. And
yeah, it's like the theme throughout the movie Barbie. With the composition,
and it follows her exact story of the point of her role in the movie.
Yeah, it's the whole purpose of the movie. Like, what was I made for? Like, that's the whole question of the film.
You all make valid points.
Oh Lord!
But it is I'm Just Kidding. I'm gonna stand on that, and I'm gonna stand on that. And I'm gonna stand.
I know.
Oh my gosh! And it's also the best sequence of the film, but that's just another thing.
But that's like a comedic thing. Like, it was hilarious. It's just
I mean, you're watching these men dolls play fight on beach, like.
On beach.
I'm gonna beat you off.
I'll beat you both off.
I'm gonna beat you off. Yes, there are some great lyrics in I'm Just Ken, but I wouldn't pick it as the original song.
Well, I hope it wins.
Yes.
I will be rooting for that film or for that song for my win. But it'll probably be like something like It Never Went Away or something like that.
I think they pick songs too that because didn't Billie win already for another song? Didn't she do?
Yeah, but she'll win it. She'll win again.
Yeah,
she'll win
again. It was
again.
Wasn't it Bond? I think her Bond song.
Yeah, I think she won for Bond. They never pick what I want, so that's how the Academy is. Even though I am the Academy. All right, last two sections: writing, adapted screenplay, and writing original screenplay. Okay. We just want to focus on that for like a quick second because as a podcast, we've been focused on screenplay and storytelling for a long time. I want to give honor and due to that because it's amazing. And if you don't have a good script, you don't usually have a great film. So American Fiction for adapted screenplay got nominated, and that's a really good script to read. Barbie makes sense. Oppenheimer makes sense. Poor Things makes sense. The Zone of Interest does not make sense because it wasn't really a screenplay.
I know
it was like, no, seriously, like
just
like there's
pages of emptiness. Horn blowing.
Black screen for 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why it's here.
But why
Jonathan
is Barbie
Glazer
here?
is glazing the whole Academy. Wait, why is Barbie here?
I didn't think of it as an adapted screenplay though. That's
also the thing that the Academy did dirty to Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. It should be original screenplay because it's not based on a book or anything. But for some reason, they're just hating on it because it's IP genre, Mattel, brand stuff for some reason. So
I just don't like hating on it, but also just not being in the category description. Like, what are we doing here, people? That just didn't make any sense.
As this is where I'll step away and say I'm not the Academy. Ask the Academy, because that's just it's atrocious.
I'm done with that.
It's atrocious. Yeah. But writing original screenplay, we have Anatomy of a Fall, and I can see that actually. The Holdovers, definitely see that. Maestro, do not see that. May December, I still need to see that, but it's an interesting story. May December, so
I forgot about that movie.
And then Past Lives definitely gets an original screenplay nomination. I definitely see that.
I could see that.
Yeah, the only thing, like going back to adapted screenplay again, this is where I'd say replace Zone of Interest with the Iron Claw. Like, give Iron Claw something.
Is that an adapted screenplay from a book?
I think it's based on like it's based on the original story, so I'd say it's adapted, kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as original screenplay, I don't see why Maestro should be in this category. But Michelle, you are a resident screenwriter here, so please school and educate me in this moment.
Why Maestro is there?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like they did a good job displaying the tension between the life that he's living with his wife and kids versus the life that he wanted to live outside of that. Like, I felt like that was well told. But other than that, I don't know. I feel like the Holdovers should win for original screenplay.
Oh, really?
Because that was a very heartfelt, emotional story that, like, it really gets you, like, especially at the end too.
Yeah, and I would say the dialogue that Paul Giamatti, beautifully performs, and his relationship with the students, I thought was really well done. So just on the dialogue alone, I would agree with you and give it the nod there.
And the story arc of his character going from like the most hated professor to the best loved professor ever.
Yeah. Completely agree. Adriana, you have some thoughts?
Well, for Maestro, whether or not it should be there, Maestro almost gives off like a biopic vibes, does that make sense? So that's why I could see why it's like, for any I don't know, like it just gives more,
for like the work in capturing that person as a character on screen.
Yeah, I just don't know if
I can see that.
That's just why when I see it in that way, I don't see it as like an original story being told. You're retelling somebody's life, so that's why I was kind of like, but yes, they still made it into what it is, a story, and going into some of those nuances. But yeah, I'm between Holdovers and Past Lives, despite me not thinking it should be a Best Picture winner. Past Lives, I did love the idea that they introduced, and I think the Academy will like that, honestly.
And the tension I thought that was introduced in the film was really well done.
I'm sitting at that bar with them, just mouth agape at this point. Just like, call the Uber, let's go, Yeah. And then, like Michelle said, Holdovers had my heart like this. And if I think about it too much, I'm going to cry. So, yep.
Davine Joy right there. I see you.
And she will win that supporting actress.
Oh, no. She that son relationship and everything was, it was everything. She's like, just leave me alone. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Oh, when she's drunk at the party.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to say for original screenplay, what I would actually want to win and should be in this category, I'm going to actually put the film Elemental in this category. And I think it should win because it was just one of the surprise romantic comedies of the year and just well done from a screenwriting, dialogue, and tension building and character developing standpoint. It was a film that, in my opinion, was going to be one of Pixar's worst films, and it just blew me away on screen when I actually watched it in the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, it did not do well in the theaters from what I had read. But I saw it in the theater and loved it. My gosh, so good.
Yeah, same.
That's why I wouldn't hate it if they won the Best Animated Picture, but I don't know if that would happen.
No, I don't think it would. There's a lot of it's not Disney's turn anymore kind of thing, because people have been upset for years that Disney just wins this category every single year.
But is it their
between
fault?
Walt Disney Animation and Pixar? No, that's why I'm good with it. Yeah. I'm good with it. Now this is a little controversial going back to animated feature film. I don't know if any of you two have seen this film, but Nimona, in my opinion, should not be on this list either. So if you want to leave the Boy and the Heron on here, I would replace Nimona then with Suzume. Or I would replace Nimona with Wish. And I know a lot of people would get mad at me for saying that, but I would if I already have Suzume on here, I'm gonna put Nimona instead of Suzume. I wish I would put Wish instead of Nimona, and I wish I could have seen Robot Dreams so I can actually know what that film's about. But
I mean, I loved Wish. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I'd put it in that category, like Oscar nominated. But it was fantastic. The songs, maybe.
Yeah, I would save that opinion until you watch Nimona, and then you really would be like, yeah, I can see what it's saying here, but it definitely ain't Best Picture nominated from a storytelling perspective and a plotting perspective and a character development perspective. Like its main character Nimona is absolutely not well written, but that's just my opinion. And that's just opinions here on the Musty Creative podcast. We made it through our 2024 Oscars preview podcast. I'm sure our post podcast episode will not be as long because we will just discuss the winners and just
it's musty in
how
here.
mad we are because we've just been creating here, man. We've been creating here. So we hope you enjoyed this conversation with us. I want to thank my hosts here, Michelle and Adriana. Thank you for dealing with me and for talking with me about this. I had a lot of pent-up energy because I had a lot of opinions, and I really appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
it was fun.
It was a good time. And it's Adriana, not Adriana.
Yeah, I can't pronounce that, so I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Come on.
So yeah. So let me outro us out of here. Again, if you listen to this podcast, you enjoyed it, talk to us. Hit us up on comments on YouTube. Hit us up on comments on Spotify. Email us. Hit us up on Discord. Let us know. Hit us up on the Patreon channel, mustycreative.com/Patreon. But on our next episode, it will be our post-podcast 2024 Oscars reaction, because what's better than previewing the podcast, previewing the Oscars, is getting mad at what was actually chosen, and also seeing if anyone slaps anybody or hits anybody or wrestles anybody or tackles anybody or punches anybody in the face.
Don't put that out
let's talk about that. Let's put that. I'm putting it out there.
I forgot about that until you just said it.
I was trying to
block that out of my.
Let's get some drama going. I love to see it. I would love to see it. Let's get
this year?
Oh, someone boring.
Jimmy Kimmel, I think.
Okay. We'll have a nice, safe time.
So someone boring. They should. If the Academy feels so oohed and odd, they should have given it to Chris Rock. They should have paid him $100 million to host the Oscars and let him say whatever he wants. That's what I want to see.
Justice for Kevin Hart, honestly, but whatever.
No, I'm good. I'm good on that. We don't need him hosting the Oscars. Anyways, so that will be our next episode. But if you want to be featured as a guest on our show, email us at themustycreative@gmail.com and tell us your story. We want to thank you to our monthly supporters, including Adriana as one of our Patreon supporters. Really appreciate you being our supporter on Patreon. Visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/mustycreative and help make this show even better. Michelle, you wanna do the outro? You wanna do the outro?
There better be bloopers.
Oh, we should just put it all in. It's good. So what did you just say? I don't even know.
That's all we have time for if you want to.
Oh, now it's time to shower up.